Welcome everyone to the first episode of In Miami podcast by Mariana Niro. And today, on my first episode, I have a very, very special guest. It's a friend that it's so motivational, and it's Alvaro Nunez here. Thank you so much, Alvaro.
Oh, thank you for
It's
having me.
I'm so happy because 3 years ago, exactly February 2021, you were the one interviewing me. And here I am on the first episode of my podcast interviewing you. So it's such an honor.
No, it's super exciting and how things work, right? We've been doing so much in those 3 years,
Three
and here
years
we are
only.
today.
And that's what I wanted to talk about is like a lot of people ask me, and I'm sure they ask you, how did you get there? And there, we are always climbing and growing, but people don't know what we have to do and our routine or what we go through to get there. So I think you are the perfect person that inspired me and motivate me, and I guess everybody else. So if you can tell us a little bit, was it easy? How was it to get where you are right now?
I think it's one of those questions that it's important to talk about because sometimes, especially through social media, you get to see the overnight success, right? People think that all of a sudden this person was doing one thing and now all of a sudden is living this amazing life. But they don't see all the 10, 15 years that has been put behind with a lot of consistency and hard work. And like everything in life, you're going to go through ups and downs. Like right now, yes, people see me on social media. It's like, oh, millions of followers, jumping out of planes, flying helicopters, climbing mountains, doing all these
We're
crazy
gonna get there.
races. And look, besides that, one of the things that unite us was the real estate, right? So I'm
Yeah.
running also a brokerage and a media agency and traveling around the world. So people, when they see all of this, is like, man, this guy does it all.
Yeah.
But the truth is that it didn't happen overnight. It was one of those things that first you need to let yourself dream again. We
Okay.
often lose that inspiration or that willingness to dream and have that
Okay.
strong vision. And the reason for that is because we are either living in a cage where we are too, I guess, too compliant on just living the status quo, or the environment around us is always like saying, you're fine, you're okay. And we stay
We get
comfortable.
comfortable. Yeah.
And it's all about how can I look at life differently. So I always say that life begins on the other side of fear. So when
Okay.
you have choices in front of you, I always try to go in the ones that I'm afraid of. The
Okay.
choice
So
that
you
I'm
like
afraid of.
challenge.
Yes, and that's where you find growth. And
Yes.
growth is what gives you the motivation to keep going. And that's what builds, in my opinion, the compound effect of life.
But did you vision back then, 3 years ago, when we were sitting down in that beautiful house that I was
Yeah,
selling, was I think it was
beautiful.
listed for 27 million.
Yeah,
Today it would be like 50, 60 million,
things have changed.
right? Did you vision, did you plan where you are now, or things like you planned something and you adapted and now you're, because you were famous, but not as famous as today. You were, I believe, only in the real estate industry. Now you are with all over. You are like you travel the world. One day is you're in Dubai. The other day, now next week you're gonna be where in Cannes.
Yeah, festival.
So exactly. So I mean, did you picture yourself going through the red carpet in the Oscar in Cannes Festival?
I think that everything happens twice, first in your mind and then in reality. Doesn't
Okay.
need to be specific. Everything that you imagine that is going to happen is going to at least lay a foundation of the path that you want to walk. And
Okay.
it is true that I had a vision of the type of life I wanted to live. And
Okay.
then you start materializing that by taking action every day.
Do you believe in manifesting?
The law of attraction, manifestation, I do believe in it. I
Okay.
think that
I believe.
it's very important because if you don't speak to the world exactly what you want in life, you're never going to have it.
If you don't send a message to
You
the
need to put
universe,
everything
no?
out there, and then eventually it will come your way. But that's why we always talk about energy, right? It's so
Mhm.
important to have that positive energy because that comes to you
True.
multiplied. It's about adding value, and then value will come back to you. So that's one of those things that, in my opinion, yes, 3 years ago, I might not have had the vision that I have today because it keeps changing.
True.
You don't need to have the same vision all your life, neither your same goals.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll reach certain goals. You might fail in other goals, but they might be open another ones.
New opportunities.
Uh huh.
And I think it's funny because a lot of people say, oh, Mariana Niro, she's lucky. Oh my God. When they say that, I'm bad. Everybody said, oh,
Yeah,
Alvaro is lucky.
yeah.
He was lucky to be there. No, I think we need to be prepared to see the opportunities. The opportunities are out there every single day. And sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. And we need to be prepared to jump in, right?
Mhm.
So when I see like 3 years ago, you talking to me, it was funny. I rewatched the interview last night, and all the questions I wanted to talk to you, you asked me. And now we are 3 years later. I grew, you grew a lot more, but here we are. And the first one was like the challenges that we have in life. I see that every successful person, I mean, every single one that I study and I see, you can singers, actors, businessmen, they've been through some challenges in the personal life.
Mhm.
Have you been to something? I know you're a little bit of your story, and I think it's very interesting. Like you were born in Madrid, right, in Spain.
Correct.
You you were like going through to be a professional tennis player, and didn't happen. Or you had to at one point you had to stop,
Yes,
right?
correct.
And maybe back then you got really upset because it was so many hours of practicing and years of your life. And then why I'm saying that, because sometimes we think when a door closes like that, that is the end of the world. And that was the moment maybe that opened for you to a new opportunity,
So true. It's
right?
about perspective, it's how you look at things in life. So, yes, you can have an obstacle and start putting all excuses and stop where you're going, or you can, as I said in the book, level up, is turning your obstacles into superpowers. Those
Okay.
obstacles is what makes you grow. Every time you find resistance in life, that's an indication that you're going in the right direction. If everything flows nicely, that means that you're living in a very comfortable environment. You need to
Okay.
find resistance. You need to find bigger problems. When people complain about certain things, I'm like, you need bigger problems.
Okay.
It's just one of those
Good.
things that you don't stop when you find resistance. That's when you grow. That's when you persevere.
Okay.
And that's what makes you overcome certain things in a way that you level up.
Okay.
So it's very important to always look at obstacles with a different perspective as an opportunity for growth.
I love that. So this is the first advice I think you would give to anybody that is out there that is starting, not only in the real estate industry, I would say in any business, anything that you're starting to do. If you find resistance, you are in the right path. So
Mhm.
that's good. And to change the way you see things.
Yeah.
And since you touched, okay, back then I had my magazine in Miami Magazine, and now let's read, since you already started to say, he has this beautiful book which I haven't read yet. I follow you in Instagram, so I see a lot, like of what you talk. I'm assuming is more or less the same. So tell us, how was how did you come up with the idea of writing a book, and what is it basically? If somebody, what to expect?
Well, it says right there, level up.
Level
It's
up.
about how can you level up in life? How can you become the hero of your own journey? It's about taking control of your life. Because sometimes
Okay.
we let life control us,
Okay.
but it's the other way around. So I think that this is a great illustration on how anybody can really turn obstacles into superpower. That's a reflection on all the lessons that I've acquired throughout my journey. I wanted
Okay.
to also showcase that, yes, what you see today on social media, it is amazing, but there is a story behind.
Yes.
And it's not that we were given everything in a silver spoon or that everything was easy. Again, it was those obstacles that made me become the person that I am today. So there is another story in there that I think that it's important for people to understand. And that is that sometimes, hey, it's great to have a vision. We started the conversation about everything happens twice.
Visualizing.
First in your mind and then in reality. Have that strong vision. But what we don't talk about often is how to focus on not just your why, but the how.
Okay.
Because everything that you're backing up on your vision needs to have a why. Is the purpose of life, right? Like,
Yeah.
why am I doing what I'm doing?
Mhm.
What's my why, right?
Okay.
That's the motor, the engine that keeps you moving, and that's very
Okay.
important. A lot of people want to have like big dreams, but there's not really a strong why behind, and then they give up. When you have a strong why, that's gonna give you
The
the
force.
force to keep on moving forward, regardless. But then there is another element that people don't talk a lot about, and that's the how.
Okay.
Because when you find your why, that's amazing. But when you are able to identify the how am I going to get there?
And this, I believe, is the hardest part. because everybody has a dream,
Yeah.
even though they might be shy and say no. Sometimes, and also it's we are shy to say our dreams because we dream so high and we are afraid of people judging us. So first is, I think, is like believe in yourself and go for it. I remember even my mother saying, "What are you gonna do? A magazine, print a magazine? Now everybody's going digital."
Yeah.
And do you have an idea how many clients came because of my magazine and how
Yes.
many doors it opened because of my magazine? So against everybody, even my own mother, I did it. But I'm stubborn. So
You gotta
if I
be.
really,
You gotta be
that's the
certainly.
thing. You need to, if you believe in yourself, go for it. And the how is sometimes I find myself there, like it's a little complicated. I'm resourceful, like a friend of mine always says, Mariana, you don't accept a no. So if I need to go from point A to B and I have a wall, I just go around. I find my way around.
Climb and
You know,
dig a hole,
exactly.
whatever
It's
you
like
do.
climbing. I didn't do it. Yes, I climb, I go around, but I get there. So I think it's very important. But sometimes it's hard. It's like you want to be there. You want to, yes, I want to get like the 20 million and up houses, but how? And then you need to I study a lot, Albert, and being here with you, it's for me is part of it. I want to learn from people that already made mistakes, because I'm sure you made mistakes.
A lot.
Because we only post, it's
A
like
lot.
it's so funny. We should have the realtors like just lost a deal,
Yeah.
because we only put just
Oh
sold.
my God. If I tell you what happened to me yesterday, the biggest one of
Can
my
you
career.
share?
No, I mean, look, it's like what you just said, right? Everybody sees your successes, but they don't see your failures.
Yes,
And those failures are really what make you grow. Like, yes, you can have a lot of successes and gives you the confidence, but the losses, if you are an open-minded person, you'll try to learn from those so that you can become better.
exactly. I tell all my girls all the time, like after, I don't know, the event, we were together last week in the event. It was beautiful, but we had a few mistakes. We did some things that we could have done better. And I told them, I said, look, everybody, I congratulated everybody. It was beautiful, but there's always a but. We can get better. And then, I'm a Virgo. Which horoscope sign?
Capricorn?
Capricorn. Well, we are stubborn too.
Dude, there's a really good thing in there, right? So I always like to talk about the fine line that exists between being confident and being arrogant, and that's your
Okay.
ego.
Okay.
So the ego is such a powerful word because if you can control your ego,
Yeah.
you will lean more towards that confident person. Because what happens is that you can be stubborn, right? And say, I'm going to do this because I can do it, or da 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 da. And that's the confidence in you. Now, if you start getting to the point where you're an arrogant, then you're pushing things away.
Okay.
So it's important to always look at your ego and have that control.
That's very important. It's true. It's about and I believe everything in life and problems and things, it comes from the ego. It's from the human being. When you don't control, as you said, you put yourself into trouble.
Yeah.
It's all the ego, but it's hard sometimes.
Well, listen, it's a work in progress.
So tell me, do therapy?
Yes, I mean, therapies, I have coaches.
Coaches? Okay.
And I think that working with coaches is like a time machine. So
Okay.
you're able to acquire in a shorter period of time what you'll be able to get in 5 years by yourself.
Okay.
So I think that knowledge is power if it's applied towards something. So yes, you can have all the coaches in the world, you can read all the books in the world, but if you don't apply anything of that knowledge into something, then what are you doing, right? So I think that therapies or any sorts of advice, coaches, or things that you do, it's important. I always look at the wheel of life, different areas, and how can I improve in each one of them? And that's what the really book is about, right? It's not how you can level up just on your career. How can you level up in life?
As a human being as well,
But
right?
it's important to always look up. I have not just a vision board, but a relationship vision board. And I break it down into buckets. So, which ones are the people that I admire that I want to build relationships with in my career?
Okay.
What about in finance?
Can you mention some of them? I was going to ask you. Who do you look up?
Well, since we were talking about, let's say, my career, right? I like Richard Branson. I think he's a fun guy.
Okay.
He's somebody that has been building a lot of incredible businesses. He's always doing what he loves. He's innovative, disruptive. He's always with a smile. It's a guy that I respect, I admire, and that I could see myself leaning towards. I mean, there is multiple people, of course, especially in real estate as well, but there is always like some figures that you want to have in your relationship vision board. and not to just think of, oh, I want to have a relationship with this person, but what? Because again, the manifestation, the law of attraction. And it's very interesting because over the years, as I've been having the fortunate to be able to attend all these events and
Yes.
meeting all these incredible people, I'm all of a sudden meeting people that I was like a
Y-
big fan from, like
He
a
was in
really
the
young
board.
age.
He was in the
And
board.
all of a sudden, I'm like hanging out with these people, and I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. But this also expands your mind because I think that having a dream or having a vision and then having your why is very strong. But the moment that you start having opportunities to meet the people that are doing already the things that you're aiming to do, that
Mhm.
expands your mind, and it's
Yes.
so powerful.
No, it's nice that you're saying that we were in the Formula One just
Yeah.
last weekend, and I missed an opportunity. And I was sharing this with my mother, and my mother said, "You," because I see someone or I want something, like I go for it. You
Cool.
know those? I forgot the book. There's a book of the 3 seconds, the 5 seconds.
Five second rule.
Yes, the
Yeah.
5 seconds. For
Mel
me, it's like
Robbins.
2 2 seconds. I'm like
That's it.
there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why you need five when you can do it in
Oh, I
two?
don't know what happened to me. And I didn't talk to the person. Well, is a businessman that I admire a lot. Private, I'm not gonna, because I will get there. I will talk to him. But it was the opportunity I had to talk to the guy that it was in my vision board for a relationship, and I didn't do it. And I was like, why did I get like that? Because I
And
consider
why?
myself like,
Why was it?
yeah, I don't know. I think I would be honest. He was there for, I think, almost 1 hour, and I'm looking at him and blah blah blah. When I decided I'm gonna talk to him,
Too late.
he turned around with his wife, and he walked away, and I went after him, and I lost him. I think he went some. So I don't know, for some reason I didn't do it, but I regret it. And in life, it's really really bad to regret. I believe it's better to regret doing it and it didn't work out, because I what did I had to know, and I could have approached him and talked to him, and boom,
You never know. I mean,
right?
regret is in my opinion, the worst feeling you
The
can have.
worst feeling.
It's better to do something and fail at it and learn from it and keep on going than don't do it at all.
Don't do it.
Is that quote that says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So
Yes.
that's kind of like the idea in here. But I'll tell you, a lot of people have those same situations often because it's the analysis paralysis. They start thinking, oh my God, what do I say? But then what about this? And then they're trying to
I
make it perfect. And
Yeah.
it is better done than perfect.
Yes, but this is also very challenging for me. I'm Virgo. For me, everything needs to be perfect. And in these last few years, I had to, especially with the Instagram. Instagram taught me a lot. It's what we say, oh, my hair, oh, I don't look good. Post it. You know, one day you're gonna look good. People are gonna judge you regardless,
Regardless.
right? It's like they're gonna say something.
Even
So
on your best outfit,
oh my,
look, video, and you think, man, this was
that's it.
amazing. And
So
then
it's a
somebody's
killer.
going to say something.
Yes,
Well,
and I think also I've learned, and in real estate, you realize that your best friends don't count with your best friends. They are gonna buy with somebody else, and it's true. It happened to me a couple of times, and it hurts, but at least you're like prepared. And people judge. So again, even your friends are gonna judge, even anyone. But when you start being judged like that, I believe is because you are shining.
that's
People are
right.
talking about you.
You're never going to see a hater doing better than you.
Exactly, right. So it's I had to learn a little bit with that, and I don't have the success you have, so I can only imagine
Oh, you're
you.
successful on your own terms. We're
Not in my
different.
industry. I'm known in my industry, but even not even like that. Like maybe in Brazil or whatever. But I already got a little bit of this. How would say this
Jealousy.
judgment, jealous. Yes, yes. And
That's
you know,
okay.
I can only imagine you. Like, tell me a little bit from the beginning. Like when your friends from high school. How do you talk to them today? How do they talk to you today? Because it's easy for you to talk to them in a normal way, but what about how do they see you?
It's a harsh reality because at first you want to keep up with all your
Friends.
friends and you want to still be there for them and you want to lift them up. Some of them are already higher than you, and you want to like still feel empowered to go towards what this friend is heading. And I think that at some point you gotta change circles, and that's just the
Okay.
reality. I tried for many years to keep the same friends just because they're great people,
Yeah.
amazing guys. But I was going back home to Spain and they were doing not really something that is aligning where I'm heading.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with what they're doing. They have a
Yeah.
9 to 5 job. They do their 2 weeks vacation a year, like, and they
It
are
just don't
happy. They are
fit. You
happy on
feel
their
you
own.
don't fit
They're
anymore.
happy, and I'm happy for them,
Okay.
And then they invite me to go out, have some drinks, and at first I was doing it, but it doesn't align with where I'm heading, and there's nothing wrong with it. I can only put into the table. And again, you need to be very confident on knowing the direction that you're heading, because that's one of the things that people talk about. You become the average of the 5 people you hang out with.
Yes, I
And
love
I
that.
think that if I'm still looking down to people that want to go up, I look down to lift them up. That's a different story. But somebody that is very happy and comfortable where they are, you cannot force anybody to go up. And that's
Yeah.
okay, because I was the type of guy that, okay, I'm a go getter. I'm in the States. I'm doing all these things. And people look, it's like, man, this guy, oh, now he's making all this money. And they look you up a little bit like
Yes.
jealous. But then that jealousy becomes an inspiration. And I think that's also why I came with the book. I'm doing all these keynote speeches. I'm trying to put content that also inspires people
Okay.
to take on whatever goal they have. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be a journey like mine. It could
Yeah.
be going from your job to a better job, or it could be to move to a different destination and start that business that you always wanted.
Everybody can do it.
It's just having that spark within you to do something more. Because as we talked about earlier on, the worst feeling is to have a regret. And to have a regret later on in life of
Yeah.
something that you could have done many years ago.
Then maybe the years pass and you cannot do it. I tell wait, look, I received many, 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 many awards in my industry since my first year. So my first award was Rookie of the Year at Douglas Elliman, and when they come to my office and I have all the awards there, they wow. And I say anyone can get those, anyone. But do you want that? Are you willing to maybe skip your son's presentation at school? Basketball game, football game, because you need to dedicate. And this is like people want to get there, they want to get all the awards, but they don't want to miss the boat, like the Saturday
It's so
boat,
true.
the
So true.
beach. So and then, but they get jealous.
But you just said something very important there, because a lot of people, even in Formula One, we were talking about Formula One, and again, nothing to brag about it, but I'm like walking through the streets, and I have like some of these guys from Spain that, Alvaro, oh my God, we follow you on social media. It's amazing what you do. Can we take a picture? Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We take the picture, everything is fine. And then one of the guys asked me, wow, what can I do to live your life? Straight up. I was like, well, that's a
What a tough
that's
question.
that's a long that's a long answer, but I'm gonna make it short. You gotta do what I did.
Yeah.
Like put and not necessarily exactly what I did, but what I did is the substance. You gotta really put the hours. You gotta commit. You gotta stay
Yeah.
consistent at something, and you wanna really say no to other things, right?
Yes.
I used to be the guy that I tried to do everything
Okay.
at all levels. Like I enjoy a drink here and there, and I was going to all these events, and I had my drink and my other drink, but then I had to do a marathon the next day, and I still wanted to do that.
Yes.
So sometimes you start saying no to things, right? I'm the first guy to arrive at a party and the first one to leave.
Okay.
I don't drink any alcohol, and I'm still having the best time, and I bring so much energy to the table that people are like, man, this guy, I'm not the guy that sits and looks around.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that energy is the currency for personal and professional success. So
Okay.
wherever you go with full energy, make an impact, have that first impression that people will be like, man,
Yes.
and they remember you, right? And then leave
Yeah.
and take care. Like be very committed. That's why a lot of people talk about routines as a trap. Some others see it as an opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
It's whatever you do with your life that matters. And if you have control over really the things that you want to do, you're gonna be in such a good place.
Even if you have, look, I will say something, even if you have to fake it sometimes. I've been through like challenges. Everybody has a bad day. And I was in the car going to show a listing, and I would be crying and crying in the car. Then you, touch up and you go and you're beautiful and you're selling the house as if nothing, because if you, especially if you're dealing with people, nobody wants to do business with somebody that
Oh
is
my
down and, crying, complaining. So even if you have to fake it, and people sometimes don't like to fake it or don't know how to, and it's not that you're faking, it's just like, yes, I'm upset. I'm going through some difficult times. I got some bad news. Some people in your life, people die or anything. You go to divorce, anything. But you need to separate, I think. There's a time where you suffer and your business, you need to keep up, right? And one another thing I wanted to touch with you is like you were always an athlete, but I see you now even more, and it's a commitment as well. It was the vision. Probably you had the vision, then you found your way, and now is a everyday commitment. Is what you said. It's like no drinking, no staying up at night. And how do you see that? Do you think that this helped you even more with your life overall
Yeah, I think that
to
having
follow?
having a structure in life is important because that structure gives you the freedom. Right? A lot of people think that sticking to a calendar, sticking to something is like the opposite of that freedom that we're always looking for. But you can find freedom within your own structure because you are the one setting up those barriers, right? If you want to call it that way. So for me, it's more about like, okay, I want to go to bed at this time. I don't care what's going on later on. And yes, you're flexible in life. You can still do certain things. But right now, when I'm doing all these races that you mentioned,
Yeah.
I just, last year I did the toughest race in the world, 6 marathons in 6 days across the Sahara Desert. I've done multiple Ironman, the World Championship. I actually just recently finished at the top at the Ultraman, which is double
Oh,
the distance of an Ironman. And I'm now preparing for doing the Great Wall Race, 7 marathons in 7 continents in 7 days.
oh my
So
god! But you
this,
say it's so normal
so like
here. It's like
these are races that people haven't even heard of. These are things that
okay.
when people actually start comprehending what I'm saying is like, wait, what? How is that
Yeah.
humanly possible? But it is one of those things that I didn't start as an ultra endurance athlete and oh my god, everything is so easy. No, it's a process, right?
How many years do you think
During
you?
COVID,
Okay.
it's also very recent, but
I was going
that
to say
just
it's
show
not
you.
a long time.
No,
You were an athlete, so you have the
yeah,
drive and the muscles and
it's
the
it's different, right? I never run more than 6 miles, and then all of a sudden
right.
now I'm doing a marathon every Monday. I'm doing like almost 100 miles a week, and I'm putting also miles on the bike and the gym. So it's a lot of hours, but there is always ways on how you can maximize your time. So I always
Okay.
look at running as a therapy.
Okay.
Talking about it, right?
Yeah.
I go out, whether it's just without headphones, no nothing, just me and my thoughts, or I start listening to an audiobook, or I do phone calls, or I have meetings, right? This
Okay.
morning I had a meeting while running and it's fun, it's with people, it's different.
Okay.
You keep it short and concise,
Yes.
so people
People
are
are
run
like,
people
what are
are
you
run
doing?
people are running out of breath, so they are very specific on what they say. They don't want to talk too much. So it's
That's
good.
funny.
But I do believe that like everything in life is consistency, right? So as you
Okay.
mentioned, as an athlete now, for me it's important to understand that yes, this has opened me a lot of opportunities, and not for the brand itself and making an impact in other people, but also for myself. Because
Okay.
when you're committed to a bigger goal and you're always looking to push yourself, you understand that, hey, the being out at night until like 2 3 a.m. and having a
Yeah.
drink, it's not going to help you,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really bring me any joy.
Okay.
You find joy in growth,
Yeah.
and the growth doesn't come from being out at night, and maybe that is for other people, don't get me wrong,
Mm,
but not for me.
yeah.
And you got to ask yourself that question is like, what are the things that are adding into my life and the things that are subtracting? And
Okay.
start making your balance, build your own
Yeah, you have to
equation.
choose. Yeah, because we only have 24 hours. So lately, I have been wishing, I'm like, can I have a little bit more hours than Alvaro, than everybody else, so I can do more? Because at the end of the day, I'm so behind. I have so many things I want to do. And I just signed up for a podcast right now. So I had my baby, my magazine, which is a baby every year that I have to do. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
My real estate business, and now the podcast. So I think it's also we ask for it because we don't want to be in our comfort zone,
that's
and we
true.
are. And then maybe part of that, maybe not for sure. This is why we have success because we go for it and we ask for it, and sometimes we fail, but most of the times we don't fail. And I want to thank you so much, Alvaro, for sharing with us. Like, great! I can't wait to read the book, and then I'm gonna get back to you and say what I think. And I think it's very important, especially for everybody out there. They ask me a lot, and I assume they ask you even more how we got out there. And here we gave a few bullet points in how easy it was not, but how easy it is for them to do it. Everybody can do it. They just need to put their mind, focus, and go for it. So
100%.
where can you share where you're going now? What is your normal life now? Once you leave here, the studio, what are you gonna do?
Well, actually, it's funny. Today is interesting, right? But it is kind of like that. That's the dream. That's the weird life. Like on Monday, I took the seaplane to our new listing, $40 million home
I
in
saw.
La Morada. We're doing all these shootings and crazy. We're turning that into a luxury wellness retreat place while selling the property because we make properties famous, right? That's the whole angle.
Okay.
So after this, I'm literally going into the airport in Fort Lauderdale, grabbing a helicopter, landing into a boat, and from there being picked up on a Van Dutch to go through restaurant and lifestyle shooting. And it's all about creating an experience, creating something aspirational. And I do believe that, as I said in the book, you are the main character of your own story. So you can build your own movie, be the producer, be the actor, be the one that orchestrates, and just
Control.
surround yourself with all the things that you want, whether it's the people or the things, and make it work. It's just manifestation and action.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and congratulations on your podcast. It was a
Number one.
pleasure. It
I
was a
was
pleasure
the
to be
number
here.
50th on you, on yours,
Yeah.
and you're my number one.
Ooh, I love
Always
it.
will be. Thank you
Oh, thank
so
you so
much.
much. I appreciate it. Thank you.